So joining me today is Ann Kramer. She's the CEO of the Electrospinning Company, which is a leader in design, development, and manufacture of innovative biomaterials for regenerative medical devices. Hi, Ann. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me on, David.
That was a bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah,
about that.
I appreciate you taking
Right.
the time out of your busy day to join us on this episode. It would be great if you could start us off, give us a bit of background in terms of what it is that you guys actually do and what services you provide.
Well, as you say, electrospinning is a bit of a tongue twister of a word, but that's the technology platform that we use to make materials and coatings. So actually nanofiber materials. So these represent the fibers that are in your body. And if they're implanted as part of a medical device, cells think, oh, I know what I've got to do in this structure, and they can do repair or regeneration. So the company is a bunch of biomaterial engineers, and we work with medical device companies who are
Okay.
developing products to mend the eye, the brain, the heart, the vascular system, all sorts of different applications.
Okay. So you're creating a, what's the right word for it? Creating a
A
product,
scaffold, if you like, for
a
the
scaffold.
cells in your body. So if you
Okay.
put something alien into your body, you've got an issue, you need a heart stent, for example,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
body's going to try and scar that up.
Yep.
So we try and coat that in a material or put materials in that allow the cells to say, oh, I can grow nicely around this and incorporate it. And then either our materials can either stay there forever if that's necessary, or
Yeah.
they can resorb and break down into harmless things and be eliminated over a week, a month, a year, whatever the medics think is the
Yeah.
best thing.
Very good. So how did you get into that?
Um, Me a little bit by accident, which is not something that the CEO is ever supposed to say. The company was spun out of government research. So we're located down at the Harwell Innovation Centre. And it actually came out in 2010, a while back, of micro nano technology, which is used for all sorts of filters and fancy things in automotive and space. But they said, here's something that's going to have application in biomedical. It was a little bit ahead of its time. The
Yeah.
technology, though, is now coming through, and sort of electrospun materials as such are probably in about 15 to 20 medical products worldwide. So it's a very new technology in terms
Okay.
of breaking in to actually be helpful to patients.
Yeah, very good. And what were you doing before then? So again, sort of how did you then?
So I always see myself as someone who likes to get research out of the research base, out of
Yeah.
academia and into the world. So my
Okay.
original background was actually in plant biotechnology and
Okay.
chemicals. So I spent 20 years in agriculture, and then moved into public health, cancer therapeutics, and I've been with this biomaterials medical device space since about 2012. So the technologies have changed, and that's been a great privilege. But the sort of how do you get a technology from here to here and look at, what are the regulatory issues? How do you finance it? Where's the intellectual property? Those things are similar.
Very good. So you've been going for how long now?
Company's been going since 2010, which
Okay.
seems like a long time to still be quite small, but actually in medical device, there needs to be a lot of testing and
Yeah.
confidence before regulators and people like NICE can actually say these products can be useful in people, because you've got to make sure that the risks have been thoroughly tested out of the
So,
system.
so as a business owner then over those last 14 years, what are some of the biggest challenges you face as a business owner?
Right. So I'm not flat out the owner. So
Okay.
it's a company. It was a spin out from government research. So in terms of owners, we have business angels, we have a VC, we have an American company. So I have quite a broad investor base.
Yeah.
Obviously I do have a small stake in it, as does Rob, the CTO, who's been on the same sort of journey.
Yeah.
In terms of hurdles, I don't know, it always feels like you definitely feel like you're running a hurdle race, not a sprint, when you're running a business like this. It's either getting enough money in is always
Okay.
um a challenge for our customer base as well, because our customer base is customer base is developing novel medical device products. So they're tending to try and access venture finance, and
Yeah.
they hit hurdles of regulatory and finance and technical, and those hurdles sort of then come back onto us as their supplier. So, you know, as a supplier, we obviously try to help them solve those issues, but that does actually throw uncertainty back into our business. And I think that's probably the biggest thing to manage.
So in terms of structuring the business, like, you know, traditional business, high street shop or whatever it is, you kind of got your sales, you got your marketing, you got your customers and things like that. What similarities have you got in your world in terms of that sort of business structure?
So a core of engineers and scientists
Yeah.
who are solving the problems, developing the products. And then we've grown a team of people who can do manufacturing and quality.
Okay.
Because we're only sort of 25 people.
Yeah.
But there's a range of sort of different modes in which we need to operate. So a client will come to us, we've got this technology, we want to get it to here as a product, and we'll support them with that. So there's a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of clever engineering, a lot of project management. And now we need to manufacture this. So we know it's the same and we can have total confidence if this is going to go into a product that's going into people. So we need people who are really good at manufacturing, quality, warehouse, and all of that. And then we do need business development. Business development is a B2B, and our customers are spread US, Europe, Middle East. So you know, it's trying to interact. It's a lot of online, regular calls, keeping them moving.
And in terms of the team, you say you've got a team of about 25. Has that grown from sort of like one or two since 2010?
Yeah. Yeah, one or two. So originally we were in an incubator in the government campus here. In 2018, we moved out of that into our own building, kitted out our own warehouse building. We've got 7 clean room modules. And I think we were 8 people when we made that move in 2018. And so it's grown sort of steadily over the period.
So you'll have had similar sort of challenges to a lot of businesses out there through that growth phase of getting the right people, growing the business in a way that the people can run systems and things like that. What sort of things how do you approach that team side of the business? How do you approach getting the right people and making sure they're doing the right things?
So I'm really proud of the team. It's an engineering company and it's really diverse. We've got a 50-50 gender mix. We've got people from ages, you know, in their 20s up to in their 60s, people from all different educational backgrounds and international backgrounds. And that culture is really important. So we try and focus on the values and the culture. And I don't really need to do anything to fix that. It's because the culture's there, it attracts people who like that kind of culture and that inclusivity. Don't always get it right, of course, but generally we try also to have a focus on continually developing and learning. So it's a small business. You recognize that everyone has their own personal development objectives, and you can't always meet them because you're small and you need these things done. But we try to give people the opportunity to develop themselves either with external courses or being involved in different bits of the business. You know, just because you're a scientist, you can also be responsible for a chunk of social media. You know, let's give people opportunities to do that. Sometimes, obviously, we haven't got the next job for them and they'll go, but often we feel we're growing people, and hopefully that's alongside the growth of our business and where we want to take it.
It's good to hear about the constant training and development, because quite often it's something that potentially is overlooked in smaller businesses, you know, in terms of that training time, that development, but also in terms of the personal development of your team and people.
It is hard when you get under financial pressure. I mean, we've had, we had a tough period earlier this year where I had to sort of actually trim a little bit before getting back onto the growth trajectory. And it's easy to sort of cut off those training things, but actually I recognize that the culture and having people who are happy and performing and we can't be successful unless everybody is performing and pulling together. So you can
Absolutely. Yeah,
get
the
that
business,
right back into the agenda. So
the team will be able to take the business further than anybody can take it on their own. So having the right people around you and the right framework and things like that to grow the business on with you and for you is crucial, isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah, very good. And in terms of time, then let's talk about a bit of time, because it sounds like you've got lots of things happening and lots of plates to spin and stuff like that. Everybody has 24 hours in a day and things like that. How do you prioritize your time and make sure you're sort of working in the right areas?
Um, I guess I'm a bit, the Tom Tuckle, you're the manager of the team, and it's a matter of sort of trying to stand back and let people, manage their teams in their own way, but identify where the issues are. Where is it that we're not doing well enough or could be doing better? So we had issues with, quality and manufacturing at the beginning of the year. So it's okay, what do we need to do there? Do we need to change the processes
Yeah,
or the way people are doing things? And at the moment, now that's running really, really well. It's okay, can we be doing better business development? So now it's sort of I guess it's more in sort of sprints, looking at the business every couple of months and going, actually, is it's usually, have we got the right people, have we got the right equipment, have we got enough business coming in, and the sort of the pressure point shifts around. So it's trying to be 3 months ahead of where the pressure point is
just
going
kind of
to be next.
a holistic
Exactly. So
viewpoint.
my next sprint is, what can we do next different in the business development and
Yeah.
sales type.
Now you
type.
mentioned about trying to stand back a little bit and let your team sort of develop and let them run. That can be a real challenge for a lot of business owners out there or business leaders, where they're kind of, they started their company, they know what they're doing, and bring on a
I think
team.
it's a particular challenge when you are bringing on the people that do what you do. So I'm a
Yeah,
business development person, originally, before I'm a CEO. So I think the hardest thing is managing the business development person to actually, say, this is what I want you to do rather than how I want you to do it. When it comes to managing the quality department, I don't have the background there. So I have to kind of trust them that, right, okay, you do this is where we need to go, but you completely tell me how to do it. That's actually easier.
yeah, yeah, it is absolutely. So do you find yourself sort of managing yourself in that process, especially when you're doing it on the business and kind of almost having to fight yourself to hold yourself back?
Um, yes, yes, I'm conscious that I'm quite extrovert. I'll talk a lot. Deliberately conscious that I need to like sit back and just not say anything in this period of a meeting or whatever, to try and make sure that people are coming along and, developing their own skills, putting their own ideas forward.
So what sort of tips would you have for those business leaders out there that are in that they need to do the same thing? How can they take that little step back, and what sort of benefits would they get from doing that?
Um, w- well, either you do it all yourself, in which case you've only
Yeah.
got so many hours a day and you're going to, get quite stressed with it, or you need other people to take on those things. Sorry, I've just gone in a room where the light goes out.
Got those infrared
If you
lights.
don't move, I will reappear in a second. I didn't think that through.
Waving your arms, trying to get the
There
light
we go.
back.
I've got up and moved around.
There you go.
Where was I? Oh yes,
Yeah.
delegating to other people. Yeah, it is quite easy to think, well, I could do that quicker myself than delegate it. But actually, also, it kind of gets boring doing the same thing, doesn't it? It's much
Yeah.
better to say, right, I can do this. Let's train someone else to do that, and I need to think about the next thing.
Yeah, there can be that sort of discipline around, like you say, it's quicker and easier to do it yourself when you know
Yeah,
how to do it, but disciplining yourself to help somebody else get there. So that actually it saves you time in the long term
that's
by
exactly
spending the time now to
right.
get the team members up to where
Right.
they need to be. And what about the future? What's the future hold for you guys? Where are you taking the organization, and what sort of things are you doing to get there?
Well, we want to continue to grow. So a lot of the client base. So in terms of the client base I have now, we're probably working for 20 medical device companies at different stages. So we're manufacturing materials for 2 companies that have got products registered and they're selling them on the US market.
Okay.
The other companies that we're working for are developing their products. So we're with them at different stages of their development journey. But as these customers mature and move into, putting their products on the market, if you like, the manufacturing component of our business, the supply of product as opposed to the supply of service, is going to grow. So that's one thing that we recognize, is that the business mix will alter as we grow with our clients. We are also interested in making more strategic partnerships. We have a very niche technology, and it often works well as part of a medical device. So, for example, we supply a material to a company that has hardware for mending a rotator cuff, and that's an operation that fails half the time. Well, our material goes into their device and wicks the patient's own cells into that bone tendon joint, tends to fail, and improves it. So, you know, there we're making a component of a device that improves it. So actually we're looking around and seeing there are a number of companies who've got products or who are making products, or other companies, people with stents who need coatings for those stents. And it would make sense for us to have more strategic partnerships in order to grow our business faster. So that's a big part of where we want to go next.
And then you mentioned also funding was a big part of what you're doing and things. So what sort of things are you doing to tackle the funding challenge?
So we've just met the point of sort of becoming profitable. We're sort of teetering on the edge there, having had a fair amount of investment income in order to put the capability, you know, we've got clean rooms and equipment and the customer base. So at the moment we are sort of steadying that up and looking at our options for finance, ideally through strategic partnership rather than another bout of venture funding.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you grow with your alliance. Yeah,
that would be ideal.
Oh, very good, very good. And what about you then, as a business leader? What keeps you motivated and driven? You know, it's a challenging environment to be in. I'm sure there are highs and lows, many highs and lows as you go. What keeps you
it's true. I mean, you do end up some days with, oh, there's a lot of this to do. But actually, you know, I've got a great team, and we've lots of, you know, people who come in straight after uni and then work their way up, and not just them, but all sorts of people with good ideas and enthusiasm, and that keeps me on my toes. That's actually really fun, and I do get a kick out of seeing people really develop themselves, and then get to work with great technology. The clients that we have, some of them are developing some really cool products. We're working with an Israeli company that's just developed a product that goes on the brain after someone's had brain surgery, and they've just launched that in the States, and it's novel, it's new, it's the first non-biological material that's doing this. And so interacting with, you know, people who are doing these cutting edge things, I mean, that just gives me a buzz.
I imagine it does. It's very, very worthy as well, isn't it? It's all good stuff.
Exactly. If we can get something out of here and a few years down the line, see that here's a patient walking around,
life-changing.
Yeah, exactly. Improve their life through something we've done. I mean, that's just great.
Very cool. So if you could give some advice to business owners and business leaders out there that are looking to grow their business, maybe venture into new sort of products or services and things like that, what words of advice would you have for them?
Oh God, well, the boring one that I'm sure everyone gives you is keep an eye on the cash, because actually, you know, as a small company, you know, there are some really exciting opportunities, but the market forces can really change very quickly. And then you know, if you don't have the resilience to see that through, then that's actually just really tough.
Not the most glamorous part of business, is it, cash flow forecasting, but it's one of the most crucial.
It's not, but it is.
You can be the most profitable company out there. If you haven't got cash to keep going, then it all stops.
That's exactly right.
Listen, it's been really good to hear a bit about your journey and your story and things like that. It's been really useful to get some insights into your world. Where can our listeners go to find out a little bit more about the Electrospinning Company? In terms
we have a website, and a LinkedIn page with newsletters and the like. So that would be the first port of call.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time, Anne.
Okay, no, thank you very much, David.